a draw was probably what we expected throughout the game, but we tried also with the substitutions we made to bring all the players we have that can attack on the pitch. So I think we were 6 or 7 in the end. I don't know if that has anything to do with us scoring the goal, but we did create the penalty, and just before that with a big chance from Jeremy. So relief, yeah, lucky.
Liverpool's own manager suggesting that they were lucky to pick up 3 points against Burnley away at Turf Moor with a stoppage time penalty from Mo Salah. It brings up the age-old debate of what is luck. How is it determined in the game of football? It's the reason we keep coming back to the sport, in all honesty, because I think most would admit there is a certain element of luck involved in the game, with so many different aspects to contemplate and to consider with luck, considering the psychological aspect. The scientific aspect is now being examined, XG. And we're going to be doing a bit of both here, because Gary Neville, he delves straight into the psychological aspect of it.
I see the board go up and it's got 5 minutes to go. And I've got absolutely no doubts that by the time I get in this lift to come up to this 5th floor, 3rd floor here, and then out onto this, I've got no doubts that Liverpool will have scored. And as soon as I open the lift doors, what do I hear? One of the City fans says, Liverpool have just scored. I'm like, I knew that was going to happen.
And I've got to be honest, I actually agree with Gary Neville. As a Manchester City fan, I've been on both ends of it. In my childhood years, growing up watching Manchester United dominate with a ridiculous amount of stoppage time winners, Fergie time, it was known as, it can't have just been a coincidence that they continue to score late in games. It can't just be a continuation of luck, because luck should theoretically run out over the course of the season. But we're not just examining late goals in this situation. There are other aspects to examine as well. But my team, Manchester City, have definitely been on the receiving end of luck, if you want to blend it in that same vein of thinking with Alex Ferguson's time, with late winners, starting with the Aguero goal against QPR to win the title, a 93rd minute and 20 seconds to be precise, to win the title, you know? These things take part in the game, and it's the reason we keep coming back. But thanks to science...
Yes, science!
Good old science. We can now actually experiment and examine how sides are faring when it comes to luck. So, this is the current Premier League table as it stands right now. Perching at the top. Liverpool fans would argue they deserve to be there with 12 points. 4 wins out of 4, 0 draws, 0 losses, 9 goals scored and 4 conceded, which is quite high, but still top of the pile, they are Liverpool. But you then look at the expected table, and Liverpool plummet to 7th, suggesting that they should have the same amount of points as their position in the expected table, which is 7 points. So that is 5 points Liverpool have potentially dropped according to the expected table, which takes into consideration the goals, the expected goals to have scored and the expected goals you have conceded, resulting in an expected goal difference, and how the game played out throughout the course of their 4 matches. And it's interesting to see that Arsenal are actually exactly where they should be. According to the expected Premier League table, they should be in 2nd place, and believe it or not, they are in 2nd place. But according to the expected table, Chelsea should be top, and Bournemouth and City should be 3rd and 4th. You then look at the expected goals table. Who's top of the XG table? And it's the 2 Manchester clubs, which, I mean, United being up there is a huge surprise, really, in all honesty. But I think a lot of the XG for both those sides probably came from the Manchester derby at the weekend, 3-0. Enjoy that one. But then you look at the expected goal difference between everyone in the Premier League, and I think that's what really takes shape there. I think that is what most people would predict to be the top 4 at the end of the season. Probably not in that order, but still, the top 4 sides are in those 4 positions. And I do believe that goal difference is a real indication of how a side is performing, because more often than not, it is very, very common to see the side that wins the league has the best goal difference. Not always, it's not a guarantee, because sides have defended their way to a title without scoring many goals, and sides have scored more than the opposition but conceded plenty in the other end of the pitch when it comes to defending, but still gone on to win the Premier League title. So it's not a guarantee, but I do often think it's a big indicator in how sides are faring. Now, if you actually look at Liverpool's 4 results, the first game against Bournemouth, you can see from the stats in this game that Liverpool probably deserved to win this game, in all honesty. They outperformed Bournemouth. There was that spell in the second half where Bournemouth hit them with a flurry of chances, and that's where they amassed that 1.7 XG for Bournemouth. Bournemouth, who are going to prove a difficult side for anybody. First game of the season. Liverpool, ultimately, I think they deserved to win this game, even statistically and throughout the course of the match. Then the Newcastle game, that is the big one. Not forgetting that Liverpool, according to the expected table, should have 5 points less than they currently do. And I believe that this Newcastle match is 3 of those points that they shouldn't have achieved this Premier League season so far, because it's an outstanding performance from Newcastle. Don't forget, red cards. Red cards. Now, I'll show you all of the results again, and just to remind you that they actually got another red card against Burnley as well. So Liverpool have faced 10 men twice this season. Burnley, albeit very late in the game, but the result ended up becoming 1-0 Liverpool after they went down to 10 men. The Newcastle game, for the majority of the game, Newcastle were down to 10 men. Now, is that Liverpool's fault? No. They can't control that. Certainly can be considered a bit of luck, though. I think luck has to be factored in when you've got moronic behaviour, just absolute rash decision from Anthony Gordon. That is a big slice of luck to have an opposition player decide to commit a tackle like that, which is outrageous. Not their fault, though. They can't be blamed one way or the other for that situation because it was a stonewall red card, a ridiculous decision from Anthony Gordon. But it's still considered luck. Even with that luck, they struggled against Newcastle, as the stats suggest. They did control the game, possession-wise, of course they did, but they had a lower XG than 10-man Newcastle, creating half the amount of chances, creating half the amount of shots. They were on target more, but still, and controlled the game more. But I still think it's a massive factor that Newcastle were able to score as many goals as they did, 2 with 10 men, and still come away with 0 points. Arsenal game. I think this is the other 2 points. I think this is the game where 2 of the 5 points, with Newcastle being 3 of the 5 points. So there's your 5 points, those 2 games there. The Newcastle game and the Arsenal game. I don't think anyone would have complained if this ended up being a 0-0 draw. Arsenal should be kicking themselves for not taking the game to Liverpool. But 53% possession to 47 suggests a pretty even game, but a very boring game when it comes to actual chances. No big chances for either side. 0.52 to 0.49. Very close in that department. Shots, again, pretty similar. Passes, pretty similar. But it was decided by a worldy bit of skill. That is not luck. That's just sheer talent, unfortunately. Szoboszlai's free kick, unstoppable. On your day type stuff. Could be considered luck. I mean, some might argue that if it is on your day, then surely on your day is luck. But I put that down to talent. I don't think we can start talking about balls flying into the top corner as luck. That's too much for me. That's just footballing talent as far as I'm concerned. But there's no denying they've had slices of luck elsewhere. Then, of course, you've got Burnley. They smashed them in XG. I would argue statistically they deserved to win this game. Even though they went down to 10 men, it was late in the game. They smashed them statistically. They didn't create enough clear-cut chances, though. 3 big chances from a total of 27 shots, and only 4 of those shots were on target. So Liverpool were poor. I thought they were very below average, and I think a lot of sides will look at that Arsenal, potentially Chelsea and City, who hope to be in a title race this season. Arguably, it seems to be a 2-horse race at the minute. Things could change, but Arsenal are going to be the most frustrated looking at how these games have panned out so far this season, with Liverpool getting a slice of luck, playing Arsenal already, and they've taken 3 points off them. Arguably in a game that probably should have ended up with a point each. And the Newcastle game for me was the biggest one. But what do you think? Are Liverpool being genuinely lucky? It's just a debate that could have an endless amount of arguments to it, unfortunately. It depends on who you support, really. It really does. What do you think? Get in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts. Like and subscribe to Transfer News Live, and I'll see you in the next one.